Evening YouTube. So as you can see by that package sitting there, happy days. It looks like my monster speaker cables have finally turned up. It feels like them speaker cables, and I didn't have nothing else being delivered, so it must be them. So these are a pair of monster speaker cables, vintage ones. They should be really nice cables. And I got a 2 metre pair for a tenner with free postage. So these cables should be a right bargain. Because if you went in a shop and spent a tenner on a pair of speaker cables, you would get a load of crap. Same if you went on Amazon or somewhere like that and just spent a tenner on some cables, they would turn up and they would be a load of crap. So buying stuff like this off the computer is a right cheap way of getting your hands on a really decent set of speaker cables. Now these aren't going to be the best speaker cables in the world, but I do know that these cables are really good and they do have a decent sound to them, these monster ones. So for a tenner, these are going to be a right bargain. And you can see there, look at them, they're nice and fat, they're fine stranded copper. That is a decent pair of cables for a tenner. If you wanted to buy something like that new, they would be a ton of money. And you got to think, speaker cables do not degrade over time. These are as good now as they was when they was brand new. If anything, they probably sound better, because believe it or not, you have to run speaker cables in to bed them in when you get new cables. So where these are nice and old, they will have had a load of use. They will be nicely run in and bedded in, and these will sound better now than they did the day they was first made. And I can remember first reading that in a Hi-Fi magazine when I was a kid, reading that you had to run your speaker cables in. I thought it was an April Fool's or something. I didn't believe it. I was like, no, why do you have to run your cables in for? But you do. So these are, because I don't know if you could read that on the camera, they are Monster XP compact precision stranded with a magnetic flux tube, whatever that means. I know what the stranded bit means. Look, if you look at them there, they're all fine stranded, which is the sign of a quality cable when it's fine stranded. And these will be made of a really high grade copper, because all the old monster cables was. So these are supposed to be a 2 metre pair, but one of them definitely looks longer than the other one. So I've got my trusty tape measure ready. So let me set that at 1/2 metre and I'll put it down and we'll measure them. So if they're shorter than 2 metres, I was mugged off. If they're longer than 2 metres, I had a good deal. And I actually bought these cables about 3 weeks ago, and the man I bought them off, he sent them to the wrong address. But luckily, the person he sent them to messaged him and said, you've sent me some cables by accident, and then they got forwarded on to me. I did think I was never going to get them. Right, so that's 1.5 metres. Right, so this one is 2 metres and a little bit. More like about 6 or 8 inches. So that is 2 metres and about 8 inches, that one. So let's see how long this one is. And it does look a lot longer than that other one, this one. So let me just find the end of it and see how long it is. It's definitely longer than that other one, this one. Right, so that's 1/2 metre. A metre. Metre and a half, 2 metres, 2.5 metres, 3 metres. So this one's 3 metres and that bit there. So it's about 3 metres and 8 inches. So I've got a bonus metre of cable there. But really, I want to cut that bit off and make them both the same length, because you do really want your speaker cables the same length. So if I do them, let's see how much longer one is than the other, because it might be enough that the bit I cut off of the longer one might be enough to cut in half and do me 2 little short lengths of cables for when I'm doing my little setup on the table. Look, that bit there. So I've got that much that I could cut off. So it's about 1 metre. So if you add that in half, I'd get 2 cables that long, which would be enough for me to use on this table when I'm setting a little setup up on the table. Oh, so I get 2 2-metre cables out of this, and a little bonus short set that I can use on a little table setup. Oh, so that's good, that's a result. So my £10 monster speaker cable bargains are better bargains than I actually thought, because I'm getting 2 sets of cables out of these. Nice long set and then a little short bonus set. Happy days. And where I like do these little setups on my table when I just sit on the sofa doing a bit of listening, the shorter the cables, the better for that. So I've had a right result with these cables. So it's good to buy your speaker cables second hand off the computer, because they are so cheap. And like, if you wanted to sort of get a few sets, because I've only paid £10 for these, if you bought a set like this and a couple of other sets, you've done like 30 quid, and then you can have 3 sets of cables to play around with on your hi-fi and see what ones you like the sound of best. Because believe me, you do get changes with different cables, so you could really tune your hi-fi into how you like it. Now, you can't really do that buying brand new cables, because you buy 3 sets of decent brand new cables, you've done so much money, you might as well have bought yourself a new amplifier. But when it comes to like this, £10 a pop, you could buy 3 sets, sort out what set you really like the sound of, and then sell the other 2 sets back on. So it's a really good way of doing it. And if you're getting into hi-fi, it's good that bit where you start playing around with your speaker cables, because you will suddenly like come across a set that on your system just really works well, and you'll think, people said you couldn't hear a difference in all this, but I can hear a difference in them ones, and I think they sound better. And the other thing that's good to play around with if you've got a few sets of cables is that if you wire your speakers, you can play around with that. So you can try 1 set of cables on the low frequencies, another set on the high frequencies, and then you can spin them over and see which way you like the sound of best. And if you throw a 3rd set of cables into that mix, you'll be playing around with it for ages. And although the differences in the sounds will be very small and very subtle, if you've got a good set of ears on you, you will definitely notice the difference. So thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and I shall see you next time.